When the Empire rose from the ashes of the Republic, there was next to no hope for people like them. The Jedi had been snuffed out. Those who supported the Republic would soon see the same fate. Though over the years, things began to change. They came to the conclusion that in order to change the state of the galaxy, the Empire had to fall. Sector to sector, star system to star system of movement began to spark. What started as hit-and-run attacks undertaken by unorganized, unlawful scum morphed into an army. That army itself united under one cause: rebellion. The first major blow they dealt the Empire came soon after the destruction of Alderaan. The Death Star was destroyed, and with it, Grand Moff Tarkin and whatever frightening schemes he had were lost. Though the Empire retaliated, and victories like the one at Hoth were widespread, yet it didn't burn out their fire. Still they pressed on, hoping to grab a hold of the pedestal that the Emperor sits upon and yank it down with the might of a starving rancor hunting its prey. But there's one thing the rebels can't seem to understand. The Empire is not prey, no. The Empire is, and always will be, the hunters. If they call themselves Rancor, then we are the Krayt Dragon, tunneling beneath them until we unleash an unstoppable might that overwhelms them, crushing the one thing they hold so dear: hope. Admiral Versio stood aboard the bridge of his Star Destroyer. Beyond him was the forest moon of Endor. It was here where the Emperor had decided to unleash the grand plan he had concocted. This backwater location would serve as the last stand for the rebellion. Such a grand plan required considerate steps to be taken to ensure it was executed without a hitch, and the Admiral had his orders, though it was the individual he spoke to that had yet to receive theirs. Commander Iden Versio stood with confidence behind the Admiral. The last name they shared was no coincidence. The commander was the daughter of the Admiral. Iden, though, was not a member of the Imperial Navy like her father. She served in a special force known as Inferno Squad. Though their numbers have been reduced by one since their inception, there was no underestimating how effective the squad had become. Commander Versio, the Admiral resumed with his speech, now turning to face Iden. Your orders during this stage of the plan are simple. Reinforce the ground forces and stop any advancement they make towards the shield generator that protects the Death Star 2. Iden herself felt a small chill race throughout her body at the utterance of Death Star. She was far more familiar with the structure than most. She had been present for the destruction of the first iteration of the Planet Killer, even flew alongside Darth Vader himself. When the station imploded, she crashed to the surface of its target that day, the fourth moon of Yavin. Let other Imperials tell the story, and she evaded a base filled with rebel scum and escaped without alerting a single one. Yet, she knew the base was half empty, save for the ones who stayed behind and celebrated the victory more than others. Regardless, she's among a small group of survivors from that day, and they all share a determination to not let those events repeat themselves. We'll be ready at once, Admiral. I'm sure you will be. There was a brief pause in the words of Admiral Versio. For a moment, it seemed as if he wanted to say daughter. At least, that's how it felt from Aiden's perspective. Yet, he was only relaying further orders. And if you encounter the Jedi Skywalker at any point, inform Lord Vader's division. He wishes to deal with him personally. Aiden nodded in approval as the Admiral signaled that she was clear to leave her briefing. Waiting just outside were the other members of Inferno Squad, Del Miko and Gideon Hask. We have our orders then. Hask rose to meet Aiden. The pair always seemed to be in competition with one another. We do. Ground support. And any encounter with the Jedi is to be immediately reported to Lord Vader. Hask scoffed at the notion as the team headed back to their ship. Quite frankly, I do not see the importance behind Skywalker. He's scum just like the rest of them. The only difference is he believes in that foolish religion whose worshippers are all dead. Del Miko took a few steps ahead as they neared the lift, taking them back to the hangar. Well, he is the one that destroyed the first Death Star. Maybe they just want to make sure he's out of the equation this time around. We could do that ourselves. Isn't that right, Commander? Hask hoped to elicit a response from Aiden, yet she seemed stuck in her stoic demeanor. Hask took note and responded to his own statement. Well, I personally believe so. Soon Inferno Squad were back in their ship, a Raider 2 class corvette they called the Corvus. All members were decked out in their Special Forces uniform, which were a stark contrast to their Stormtrooper Corps counterparts. A sleek jet black armor highlighted their intimidating presence. Miko liked to call them the more compact version of Death Troopers, and of course Hax thought they were better than them. I didn't believe the comparison was unwarranted, as they both served their function for the Empire, and right now their function was holding the ground on Endor. We just received word that the Rebel strike team that they dispatched have arrived on the surface. Aiden relayed the news to her team. Just as the Emperor planned. Hask seemed to boast as if it was his plan. Nevertheless, that was their cue to make their way to the surface, as the rest of the rebellion was soon to arrive. The plan for Inferno Squad wasn't to intercept the strike team, which is something they found a bit odd. Instead, they were only to assist when the fighting started, almost as if they were crowd controlled. As the Empire sat patiently, the Rebel strike team finally landed on the forest moon of Endor. Amongst those that gave their assistance in the stage of the mission were among the most decorated members of the Rebel Alliance. There was Captain Rex, a relic of the previous Clone War who sought to restore a republic he was created to defend. General Leia Organa offered to join the strike team as well, if not for anything else but to ensure that the team's leader, General Han Solo, came back in one piece. Most notably, there was Luke Skywalker. At this point, he claimed the title of Jedi Knight in the footsteps of his father. However, he knew the steps his father took led to a place that Master Kenobi believed he could never return: the dark side. Skywalker knew a confrontation with Vader was on the horizon. It was destined, but he was sure it would end with the rebirth of Anakin Skywalker. That was all to be dealt with soon. Right now, the critical step was to destroy the generator that protected the Death Star. Though the mission had a lot of unexpected hurdles, mostly in the form of the Ewoks, a species that is native to the forest moon. Though, through some impressive wizardry displayed by C-3PO, the Ewoks agreed to help the Rebel strike team in their mission, but the future still weighed heavy on the heart of Skywalker. So much so that he confided in his sister Leia the truth. He told her of their shared lineage and what their father had become. Luke made it clear that he needed to face Vader alone. Leia even pleaded with Skywalker to run away from everything, yet he was stern in his choice. Skywalker left the Ewok village under the cover of night and found his way to the nearest Imperial installation to turn himself in. Word of the surrender of Skywalker spread throughout the Imperial station on Endor like wildfire, and soon reached Inferno Squad. Gideon Hask roamed through the halls of the Corvus, which was docked on the installation of the world, to inform his squad mates of the news. Skywalker surrendered. A large hint of disappointment was mixed in his tone as Iden Versio and Del Meeko turned with shocked reactions. Excuse me, he did what? Meeko had heard tell of Skywalker, even Jedi of the Old Republic, mostly how valiant and steadfast they were, the last to surrender before an important conflict. Though maybe this was a good sign. Even the Jedi now had doubts about their chances against the Empire. He surrendered. Hask continued. He told the commanding officer he was alone, but we know that isn't true. Lord Vader has already ordered a search for the others. Iden knew that the search would end with conflict, meaning their purpose of being deployed would be coming soon. Then we better prepare, she said. This could be part of their plan for all we know, so be ready for anything. Affirmative, Commander, Hask said as he slid his helmet down over his head. The slight hissing sound as it clicked into place was almost euphoric for him, as he knew the end of the war drew near. As a matter of fact, all members shared in this feeling as they exited the Corvus and made way to the final battleground.